So today I was reflecting on my Etsy journey. You know, all the wins and the lessons I've learned along the way. And I started thinking, if I were to start my Etsy shop in 2025, what would I do differently? And let me tell you, there are definitely a few things I'd change, knowing what I know now. Whether you're just starting out or looking for some tips to level up your shop, I'm spilling the tea on what I do differently to set myself up for even more success. So grab a coffee or your favorite snack and let's dive in. Alright, so the first thing I'd do differently if I started my Etsy shop again is this. I'd focus on creating high quality products from the start. Products that not only stand out, but can actually be priced higher. You see, when I was just starting, I was juggling a full-time corporate job while building my shop. And honestly, as much as I wanted to put all into my products, there were days when I just felt tired or uninspired to give it my best. So I'd end up creating things that were quick and super easy to make, like a one-page invoice template. Spoiler alert, I didn't sell a single one. Why? First of all, there are tons of similar templates out there. And second of all, you can actually grab one for free on Canva, so why would anyone buy mine? Looking back, I realized that while those easy-to-make products felt convenient in the moment, they weren't unique or valuable enough to succeed in a competitive market. So if I were to start again, I'd focus on making products that might take a little more time and effort to create, but would truly stand out. You know, products that have a unique twist or offer something that people can't just find anywhere for free. Not only do these kind of products grab attention, but they also justify a higher price point, which means more profit for you in the long run. So yeah, lesson learned. Quality over quickness every single time. Alright, so the next thing I do differently is niche down strategically. You see, when I first started, I didn't really know what my niche was. I was just creating whatever products popped into my head. One day it was a planner, and the next day maybe it was a business card template. It was all over the place. And while that's not a totally bad thing, especially when you're just starting out and trying to figure things out, I realized how much easier things could have been if I had a clear niche from the very beginning. When you don't have a niche, you're constantly asking yourself, all right, what am I going to create next? And that gets exhausting. But when you know your niche, say real estate templates, you already know your target audience, and so the ideas flow naturally because you're designing with them in mind. Let me give you an example. Imagine a customer is looking for real estate templates and they come across two shops. One shop has everything from planners, social media templates, business cards, birthday cards, wedding invitations, you name it. And the other shop is completely focused on the real estate industry. Every product is tailored to what they need. Which shop do you think they're more likely to trust and buy from? Exactly. The second one. That's the power of having a niche. It builds trust and makes you the go-to expert in your space. So if I were to start again, I'd spend a little more time figuring out the niche that I want to focus on. For example, maybe it's educational templates for school learning or templates for small business owners. Whatever it is, having that clarity makes everything from product creation to marketing so much smoother. My advice, take some time to really think about who you want to create for and what they need. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Alright, let's talk about something I really wish I did differently when I started on Etsy, putting out products as fast as possible. When I started, I was juggling a full-time job and building my Etsy shop on the side. So yeah, time was really tight and it felt like I was doing all I could. But looking back, I know I could have done better when it came to consistently putting out new products. Around month 4 or 5, I was seeing some real success, and instead of riding that wave, guess what I did? I stopped creating. I got comfortable, and I thought, oh, I'm doing great. Maybe I can just chill for a bit. That was a mistake. I wish I had jumped on that momentum and kept creating. Who knows what my revenue could have looked like on year 1 if I had taken advantage of that growth phase. You see, the more products you have, the more opportunities you create for people to find your shop. So if I were to start over, I'd push myself to keep creating even when things are going well. It's about building momentum and keeping your shop fresh with new and exciting designs. So if you're seeing even a little bit of success in your shop right now, please do yourself a favor and don't stop. Keep that momentum going and you'll thank yourself later. Alright, let's talk about something I definitely do differently. Not letting my inspiration get way too similar to other people's work. When I was just starting out, like so many beginners, I struggled to find my groove with designing. So I looked at other people's work for inspiration, and before I knew it, I started to create designs that were way too similar to theirs. And looking back, I realized how wrong that was. Not only was it unethical, but it also held me back from finding my own creative voice. If I could start over, I'd take a much better approach. Instead of relying heavily on what others were doing, I'd expose myself to as much design inspiration as possible from different platforms like Pinterest, Behance, Instagram, you name it. The more you see and explore, the easier it gets to pull ideas from various places and create something that's uniquely yours. When you create something original, it doesn't just feel better, it actually helps you stand out. No one remembers a shop that looks like a carbon copy of someone else's. At the end of the day, you're just a knockoff. They remember the shop that brings something new and fresh to the table. So yeah, lesson learned. Take inspiration, but don't let it cross the line. Find your own style, build your own brand, and trust that your creativity is enough. Okay, so the next thing I do differently is build a strong brand presence outside of Etsy. When I first started, I pretty much relied solely on Etsy to bring me traffic. I wasn't doing much marketing outside the platform, like at all. But here's the thing. When I eventually started using Pinterest and Instagram to market my products, I saw so much more traffic coming in. It was like a light bulb moment for me, and I thought, why didn't I do this sooner? By putting my brand out there, I was able to reach people who weren't just scrolling through Etsy. People who might not even know that Etsy exists, but were looking for exactly what I was selling. And that's huge. I always say, you can have the best products in the world, but if people don't know it exists, no one's going to buy it. That's why marketing is everything. So if I could start over, I'd focus on exposing my brand to as many eyes as possible right from the beginning. Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform you think makes sense for your audience, use it. You see, the more you market, the more people will find your shop and the more sales you'll make. So my advice, market, market, market. Your products deserve to be seen. All right, another big thing that I do differently is diversify my sales channels earlier. When I started, I was completely focused on Etsy. I didn't even think about selling on other platforms until maybe year 2 of my business. That was a huge mistake. I missed out on so much potential income by putting all my eggs in one basket. If I had started selling on multiple platforms right from the beginning, I probably could have doubled my revenue early on. Customers have their favorite platforms, and not everyone wants to shop on Etsy. Some people prefer to shop directly on a website, or other people like to shop on marketplaces like PayHip or social media shops. By diversifying where you sell, you're making it easier for people to find and buy from you, no matter where they like to shop. Think of it like casting a wider net. The more places your products are available, the more chances of you landing some sales. So if I could go back, I'd set up my website immediately, list my products on other platforms, and start driving traffic to all of them. It's a little more work up front, but it does pay big time in the long run. So if you're just getting started, don't wait. Put your products on as many channels as you can handle, and you'll thank yourself later. Okay, let's talk about something I wish I learned earlier. Being willing to invest in things that my business needs. When I first started, I was working on this super old laptop, and I think it was 7 years old, and it was super laggy. I mean, every time I tried to design something, it felt like the computer was fighting me. It was slowing me down, and honestly, it was just adding to my frustration. It wasn't until year 2 that I finally gave in and upgraded to a new laptop. And let me tell you, the difference was like night and day. Suddenly, I could work so much faster, and creating designs actually felt enjoyable again. Looking back, I wish I'd made that investment sooner, but I was afraid of spending money. I kept thinking, I need to save as much as I can, but sometimes the saying, you have to spend money to make money, is true. Since then, I've realized how important it is to invest in things that will make your business better. For me, that's hiring an accountant that handles all my books and taxes, game changer by the way, upgrading to a reliable laptop, and paying subscription to apps that I actually use every day for my business. And every single one of those investments has been worth it. They've made my life easier, helped me work more efficiently, and ultimately helped my business grow. So if you're holding back and investing something that you think your business needs, don't be afraid to take that step. Think of it as setting yourself up for success. You're worth the investment. One of the biggest lessons I've learned, and something I do differently if I were to start again, is to go above and beyond in everything. Whether it's design, customer service, marketing, literally every part of your business, you've got to put in that extra effort. You see, when I first saw some success, like I mentioned earlier, I got a little too comfortable. I was doing the bare minimum, thinking that that would be enough. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. In a market as saturated as Etsy, standing out is hard, and the only way to stand out is by doing what others aren't doing, and that's by going the extra mile. Let me give you an example. Back in my first year, I had a customer who wasn't happy with their purchase and asked for a refund. But because it was a digital product and you can't exactly return it, I refused, and they left me a 1-star review. Ouch, right? Now looking back, I think I could have handled that situation much better. These days, if a customer tells me they're not happy for whatever reason, I don't fight it. I just offer them a refund. No questions asked. And you know what? Most of the time, they're actually the ones who are leaving me 5-star reviews. To me, that's what going above and beyond looks like. It's about making customers feel valued even when things don't go perfectly. So if I were starting again, I'd make it my mission to go the extra mile from day one. Whether it's putting more thoughts into my designs, improving how I handle feedback, or stepping up my marketing game, I'd make sure that every aspect of my business stood out. In a crowded market, people will always remember the business that goes the extra mile, and that's what will keep the customers coming back. Alright, so those are the things I'd do differently if I started my Etsy shop all over again. Hindsight really is 20/20, huh? But hey, the good news is you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Take what I've shared, run with it, and make your Etsy journey even better from the start. If you found this video helpful, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe. It really helps me out and lets me know that people enjoy this type of content. Also, if you got any questions about starting or growing your Etsy shop, drop them in the comments. I'm always happy to help. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!